All right, welcome to another episode of J&J Monday on a Sunday. Everybody seemed to get over their cold, flu, whatever season that we had. I was sick for a week and a half. A lot of people were sick for a week and a half, but we're here. We're here, and I'm going to check this off because I'm getting too much light on my side. Sorry, guys, I'm going to have to do it in audio form. But we're here. We're doing a freestyle Sunday, and we'll be talking about a few things. First of all, we're going to give our opinions on a poster that finally was released, the official Star Wars Rogue One poster. A lot of people is hyping, very hyped to this movie. Pretty much a standalone prequel, sequel, chronicalized, whatever you want to call it. But it's not the movie I want to be talking about. It's the poster because I'm not feeling the poster. I don't know how Joshkin is feeling about the poster. I don't know
I
if
haven't
you've
really
seen.
seen the poster before, so I have not really an opinion. I think I might have seen the poster, but I haven't really looked at it.
All right. So we're going to take a look at this poster because here's the thing about this. When Star Wars comes out, no matter what film it is, the one thing I always have to admire is they always make the posters epic. That you're watching a very big series, from the original series, from the even the Ewoks, surprisingly, and the prequels. They always had some sense that you're watching something. The only one I gave a pass to was actually the Clone Wars movie that was actually a spin-off for the TV show. But even that, it reeked Star Wars. Here is a little different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show Johnskin this because she hadn't seen this before. I'm actually going to do a share, and I'm going to actually dive through, if I can find it, the poster that I'm going to talk about. And this is the poster in a nutshell. Um,
I can see it's a
um,
nice white screen. I can understand why people are angry about it.
this is my personal opinion, so I don't know what the overall crowd feature is. I don't load. I do like the show, so I'm just gonna wait and see it comes out. It should be coming out any moment. Um, I'm just gonna just stop for now because it ain't here yet.
Okay, that was great. I get multiplied.
I'm gonna wait until it comes out because it's not showing for some odd reason. Okay, here we go. That's not the poster I'm looking for. There it is. No, that's not it either. That's close to it. Fan posters always kills it. I'm gonna have to do this. I have to go to Wikipedia to get the original poster, but unfortunately, see that lost me to it. Rogue One, which by the way I think comes out next week, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I've seen posts going, "Oh, it's only a week away! Yay!"
All right. So this is this is the theater release poster, and I'm just waiting for it to actually load again. There we go. Now, here's the poster. I'm gonna show it to you right now, and I'm gonna let you comment on it first because I'm actually curious what you have to think about this poster. And put the share. Go right back to where the hell does that poster go? Where is that poster? There we go. All right, this is the Rogue One poster. All right, it says Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. This is actually a better poster than I've originally seen. Now, it definitely has the feel of Star Wars. That's one thing. But the one thing about this poster, it feels more like it belongs to a video game than it does a movie. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad poster. It's actually pretty good, more better than the bus poster that I've seen, where it looks like it's straight over a PlayStation 2 game. But what's your feeling about this poster right here?
First off, I need to not see a million versions of myself, although that is scarily awesome. It's yeah. Sorry, I get distracted easily. There's myself on the lower screen. I It looks okay. It looks sort of epic. I mean, how Jane something or another, the main character of the movie. Oh fuck you! Stuck in the phone up. Jane. Fuck. Oh yes, Revs. Choose this time to text.
Yes, you did.
It's just like it's like great. It's like it just remain quiet for me all day, but right now. So back to the poster. Jane something or another is the center focus of the poster, as she should be, as she is the main character of the film, with the rest of her team making up her body. And then it seems as though the Death Star and Darth Vader being right over, being behind her. So it's good position, but I like your description of it being like a video game cover.
Well, what do you feel about it? Do you think it's a movie more of a video game cover than a movie poster? What's your feeling on that? Do you think it's more of a video game?
I don't know if there really needs to be a really distinction between the two. I don't buy many video games, so I don't tend to look at their covers, so that's not going to be one of the things that will instantly spring to mind.
But yeah, here's the thing. What I think we all can agree on. We have an unknown. There's a blank future with the main character. Now the character is played, of course, by Felicity Jones. And this would pretty much be the first major film I'm seeing. I know who Yang is. I've seen IP Man and other stuff. We also know who Forrest Whitaker is. There are other actors here that I'm probably going to get a feel for the first time. But I just feel like this character, it's first of all, I don't feel she's going to survive past one movie. And two, just how much consistency is going to be between Rogue One and A New Hope. How many? Because if you've seen the movie, they got the plans and they're being hunted down. So just how many months went by or years between Rogue One and A New Hope? You think it's a matter of months, years, or even days? That's my major concern about this whole thing, more so than anything else.
So Brian seems to have texted me something a little important, and I'm not really sure. So just hang on. Oh, SOS, something's going. Fuck. Okay. I don't panic, but I'm not good with figuring out the time scales of things. I'm not. Okay, he says he's just feeling down. Fuck.
Well, tell him to come up. So here's what you do. Tell him to come to the podcast.
Okay, I'll
leave him a link.
Okay. Join in on the podcast.
He's online. I don't know. Tell him I left him a link.
Has left you a link on Skype. Oh, okay. Goddamn. Can join on the podcast. Okay. I think so. So, okay. First, I'm going to answer the time thingy. I'm not good with figuring out times. I'm actually really impressed when fans of a show, movie, or some sort of series or a standalone work can figure exactly how many months, how many years, because I have no fucking idea. I'm just lost. I just know that this movie will take place shortly before episode 4. Because this is the movie about how they steal the plans for the Death Star. the first Death Star.
Now here's the thing. Oh man, you're right about that. You wasn't lying. six times. I don't know what. It's always happened when I go back to the original screen. But here's the thing about this, okay? It's very clear that there's no republic. If there is, the republic is weakened to the point of non-existence. We know from this movie um, that the empire is growing stronger and stronger. Years have went by, but there's also something very important here that I kind of wish the trailer didn't spoil, and that what ticks me off. And this is something that I refuse to watch any more trailers after that. There's a connection between the main character, her father, and the Death Star that was never really was mentioned. Because keep in mind, the one thing we always ask ourselves the question is, who built the Death Star? How was they able to come up with such a massive thing? And it's interesting. Yeah, at the same time, is also a bit of inconsistency unless you count the prequels and how the plans for the Death Star was transferred to hand.
Yeah, for those of you who like to pretend the prequels never existed, just as a little refresher there, in episode 2 on Geonosis, and I'm just marveling at my own nerds, I'm sorry. In episode 2 on Geonosis, the Geonosians or whatever they're called give the plans for the Death Star to Count Dooku. And then at the end of episode 3, you see the Death Star being built.
And that's the whole thing. And I mean, you bring up a very good point. So, those who don't want, and I think it's very key, those who don't want to count the prequels, or Disney's trying to wipe the prequels out, they really can't, especially with this movie, because there's a lot of questions that's going to be answered. And it's also going to bring the sense of consistency because, yes, with the exception of the expanded universe, which was been discontinued, the prequels are still in.
The expanded universe hasn't been fully discontinued. It's been basically wiped pretty well clean, but it hasn't all gone away. For better and worse, one of my favorite Star Wars characters is now non-canon, so I'm just slightly bitter over the expanded universe being wiped.
Now, now I'm actually looking at this again. There's a lot of Dave Vader is in this. What role he's going to play as? Because again, the trailer did do one good thing. That they downplayed Vader's role very, very good. So he may not have a big role. He may have a small role. He may just be ready to say hello.
About Revs, he was, I guess, resetting his phone, and it just accidentally sent out an SOS emergency group call thangy. Okay, I can't.
Join.
Okay, sorry.
All right, so these are the things I'm very, very curious about. This movie has the making to be a few success or a failure, both critically. I don't think it's going to be commercially, because I think that the crowd is going to make its money regardless of what the critic says. But it is a big risk. Keep in mind, in an age where trying to have their own universe made, the one that makes the most sense, obviously, is Star Wars. Yet they are taking big leaps. Keep in mind, they already have the Han Solo storyline going on that's going to be produced in another 2 years. And we also don't have to forget the original episodes, which will be continuing with episode, I believe 8 next year. So this is not going to go away, but this is going to set precedents for the side stories that are going to be done, which are actually prequels, which people don't like to hear it, but it is a prequel. It's happening before the events of the original series, and who knows how far they can go with the side story, because keep in mind, the original episodes ain't going to last forever. They're going to reach an end point. And so these stories may set precedents for a whole new series, or just they pretty much stand alone, has a beginning, middle, end without any other movies to link it. What do you agree or disagree?
I'm still trying to find your text from you about what microphone, but
I'll text you that
about
later. I got it.
okay. I'm just passing the time listening to you and doing what I should have been doing, weeks ago. But as for Rogue One being the start of an anthology series, there's a lot of material to cover. I mean, the expanded universe has been basically wiped clean, but what it covered was all these little nooks and crannies that the Star Wars universe used to have. And so the anthology movies can start to do that, start to go into little nooks and crannies. And just because the expanded universe, for those of you who never got into it, and for myself personally, I got far enough in that it just got so overwhelming that I had to step back. So I stopped really being as big of a Star Wars fan just because it was very, very expansive. I mean, if you were into the expanded universe, you can definitely tell that the movies were just barely anything at all in the Star Wars universe. So, in short, because I'm going to start repeating myself again, the Star Wars anthology movies have a lot of wiggle room, a lot of things to explore, a lot of things they can explain, a lot of things they can show that the movies just won't have time to. Back to you, Jockerly. Shit. Shit.
Oh, I've been talking all the time. I didn't realize my microphone was not on. My mistake. But now let's go to the point here. This movie. Um, we're not saying that it's going to be a good or bad. We're doing a first impression. This poster is part of that first impression. It is very clear that Felicity Jones is going to be the main character. It is clear from the trailers that they're going to be focusing on her. Again, we don't know what's going to happen in the end. We don't know if she survives for this. Keep in mind, there was no mention of her in any of the other universe, even right now with the new trilogies or new line of movies that's coming out. So the only thing I'm more fascinated is, does it tell a good story? Now, Joshkin, are you concerned about the reshoots they was doing with this movie? Something that a lot of people were a little bit worried about, something that people have gotten worried over the past year, past few months, especially with films. They got reshoots, and the results wasn't as well as one may hope for. Suicide Squad is something to come to mind. Fantastic Four. I'm not saying Rogue One's going to fall in that line, but it does concern you when you have reshoots of scenes that may have been better if they would have left it alone.
God, the Suicide Squad, that movie had such good potential, but one of the problems really was that they had too big of a cast, and they could have cut down the cast so much. I'm sorry, I'm just still feeling the Suicide Squad was a decent film, and I'd watch it again, but I'm still slightly scarred. So you bring that up, and I'm just like, oh. But reshoots don't necessarily spell the end of something. They don't necessarily mean that something is going to be bad. So I'm not as sure of Rogue One as I was Star Wars Episode 7, just because Episode 7 had J.J. Abrams at the helm, and I trust J.J. Abrams with my life, and I have not watched something by him that I haven't enjoyed, so I was very sure of that. Rogue One, on the other hand, I'm slightly more cautious about, so I'm staying very neutral. I'm not getting super hyped up, but at the same time, I still really want to see the film. I'm just not going to think it's going to be the best or the worst film without seeing it first, or until reviews start to come in.
All right, and for those who are curious about this, it was already released already in certain theaters. The Plant Stage Theater was released on December 10th. It's going to be officially released on December 16th all over the United States. This is a film that has high stake. Now, Disney has forked over $200 million for this movie. That is a huge leap to jump over. So you're gonna assume, if you look at the numbers prediction, that Star Wars Rogue One has to make 150 million right off the gate. If they make anything under the 150 million mark in their first week, or pretty much not even make $100 million, period, this could be considered one of the biggest disappointments that Disney had in a long, long time, even in the whole entire Star Wars franchise. Your prediction, you think they can actually pull it off in 1 week? Hello?
Sorry, I'm responding to. Uh,
Ref's telling me, Ref's coming or not?
no, he's not. He's about to take a shower and then eat. God damn it. Okay,
Why did you give me the
what
link
was
to
the
my
question? What was the question you asked? Because I knew it like a half a second ago.
thing? You
What?
really want me to keep the whole thing?
No, just the simple idiot 2-word version.
Okay. Here's the thing. Make sure
Okay.
the movie costs $200 million to make.
Oh, is this about if it will make its money?
Yes.
Okay, good. See, I did
What's the
partially remember.
I said it again. You have to assume no worse than 120 or 150 million. This is a $200 million film, so if they make anywhere from 40 to 50 million, they're not making their money back, even if they do well worldwide. So the question is, do you see them making 100 million right off the bat?
I love seeing myself a million times. That's never going to stop being amusing. But I'm not good with money. I don't really understand anything related to numbers. I don't know how much it will make. I can't make an estimate. I don't know.
Do you think they're gonna do good in the first weekend?
Yes, I definitely do think that the movie will, just because Star Wars has a huge fan base, and so there's definitely going to be fans going into the theaters to see it.
All right, so here's the thing that many fans could be disappointed, but then again, they shouldn't be surprised. You know who's doing the music for the Rogue One?
Who? Not John Williams.
Michael Giacchino.
He's the one that did the music for Fringe, right? Because I think it's Michael, normal name, then something really odd for the last name.
Well, he's 49 years old. He's only going to be the third composer in the Star Wars lore who actually did a Star Wars film. Actually, there's actually two other people who did a Star Wars song theme. There were, and I'll get to that in a minute. But his resume is pretty good. He did a lot of good numbers. Here's his resume. He did The Incredibles, The Muppets, Wizard of Oz, The Family Stone, Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World, Mission Impossible 3, Ratatouille, Cloverfield, Speed Racer, Star Trek. He's actually done all the new Star Trek ones, Up, Land of the Lost, Earth Day, Let Me In, Cars 2, Super 8, Monte Carlo, 50-50. He's done Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Jurassic World, Zootopia, Star Trek Beyond, Doctor Strange, and he also has been slated to do a couple other stuff, such as Spider-Man: Homecoming, War of the Planet of the Apes, and The Incredibles 2. So this guy has a very interesting resume, and you know what they all have in common? They all have been involved with Lucas Studios and also been with Marvel Studios. So he does have a resume of working with them, has great rapport. And I think it's very important to know this because of one thing. John Williams is 82, 83 years old. His days all coming to an end of being the composer of Star Wars.
I just looked it up, and Michael, whoever actually did do the music for Fringe, so I was thinking of the same guy.
Mm-hmm. Now, as I was saying, this is important to know this because it may be possible, just possible, he may be taking over the mantle for the upcoming Star Wars film. It hasn't been official yet, but you got to believe that one way down the line, John Williams will step down. I was actually shocked that he did the score for The Force Awakening. It's a good score, but you got to wonder who will be that next person because it's very, very difficult. It's not easy to do a Star Wars score. And here's the thing. There are two other scores, and I'm going to try and find these guys right now. One of them happened to be the worst score I've ever heard of, at least in my opinion, and that was the Clone Wars. But then again, that was a made-for-TV movie that made it theaters. The other score...
That movie, I remember my friends going, "Oh my God, are you going to see that movie in theaters?" And I'm like, I don't fucking give a shit. It just didn't really look like it should have been released in theaters. So I'm like, I'm not wasting my time.
And you're right. It shouldn't have been released in theaters. It really was a waste of time. The book was okay though. Just give me 1 minute because I gotta find the guy's name. I don't want to mess with his name. There were two other composers who did a Star Wars theme. One of them happens to be based on a novel, which was actually a very, very good rendition of the Star Wars lore, which I kind of wish they could have done. The music is not bad. It really isn't, but you can tell the big difference between. I'm trying to find it. The first who did the Clone Wars is Kevin Kenter. He was the one who did the Clone Wars. All right, so in case you guys want to know who that was, they don't have. Also, Kevin Kenter did the TV series as well as the game, also as Rebels. They don't have the guy who did Shadow of the Empire, which is kind of surprising. Because of the fact that it wasn't. How can I say? It wasn't based on anything. It was based on a concept. The Shadow of the Empire had the soundtrack. It was released. It was the most popular. Shadow of the Empire was one of the most popular Star Wars property at the time because the book was was high selling. It spawned video games. It spawned a comic book, and yet it's the only soundtrack that was not linked to a movie to actually gotten a major release. It had mixed reviews. I had the soundtrack. It's okay, but no one has ever captured the Star Wars lore quite like John Williams has with his music. And now, when he's reaching that age, one can only ask who will be best suited to take over that mantle for the Star Wars lore. I don't want Hans Zimmer. Don't tell me him.
What?
Don't tell me Hans Zimmer.
Hans.
I got Batman. That's all I need. Say something. I'm still waiting for you.
Oh, I was supposed to actually have an answer?
Yes. Who do you want to replace John Williams if he steps down from the Star Wars?
Zombie John Williams.
Not gonna happen. Give me a name, anyone. I know you guys. I know you're a sci-fi buff.
I'm a sci-fi buff. That's not the same thing as being a soundtrack music buff.
Okay.
I mean, I do. Hans Zimmer is and then Michael, what's his name? Yeah, none of the music that he's done has made me, stop and think. But that's the majority of music. But I do know from the music I've heard from him, it would be, I wouldn't mind it. I I kept up with Fringe, and I like the music there, so. And you've stated that he's done music for Cloverfield and the new Star Trek movies, and I've enjoyed the music in those, so. I'm not really a music buff. I don't know how to critique music. I'll go,
The same person got the Rogue One soundtrack. All right, so the big thing about this is it is gaining hype. Disney's doing everything they can to hype up the energy of this movie, and you gotta hope that this movie does well, especially since they already have cast the cast members for Han Solo. So that's pretty much already in the pipeline, and pretty much we'll start doing filming and recordings. With that being said, I'm kind of surprised that they seem to. I don't know if that's gonna happen. They said it will, but it seemed like the more you hear about it, the less likely they're going to make an Obi-Wan story.
I like Obi-Wan. I would like to see more Obi-Wan. But I can understand if they want to start covering other stories.
Here's the thing: I want to see Princess Leia. How she came to be this great rebel. You can turn on your microphone. Ain't as bad as it was last time.
I'm sorry, I'm going on Amazon and looking at thingamajigs.
You can look for it later. You don't got it now. You ain't gonna help you.
I know it's not going to help. Okay, this is something.
It's not gonna materialize in your lap. You got plenty of time.
No, I tend to not distract myself with things.
You're distracted now.
Okay, I'll be good.
Like I said, Leia, movie version.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious how she became a rebel.
She was awesome. She was also, her parentage was lied about, so she was the adopted daughter of Bail Organa. So she was in a family of politicians, so it was easy for her to, make her start. And he, of course, would have a bias against the Empire.
Well, that's definitely true. And that's why I'm always curious how she was taught. And what are you eating today? Before we move on to the next subject.
Velveeta chocolate thingamajig.
All right, so I'm gonna look for the store because I'm kind of curious because the Kardashian family is not exactly
Kardashian.
All right. Kardashian family, yes.
Well, I've heard. I don't keep up with them.
Thank God. I hope that wasn't a joke.
Yeah. It's just like people. The only way I find out about this shit is if someone else brings it up, because I don't care.
Well, you should.
Kardashians?
No, more for Kanye West. And look, Kanye West is a controversial figure. There's no question. But these last few weeks he's been going through has not been his day. If you guys haven't heard by now, which I don't know how you don't, Kanye West has been hospitalized involuntarily. He's been institutionalized. Now, we don't know why. And rightfully so, they are keeping his medical record secret, but it does raise concern of his behavior, which he's going through these last few weeks. Not showing up for concerts, leaving the concert early, going on tirades. So, as a concern, I'm not here to bring the guy down. It does bring a question: has he burned himself out? Mr. Quiet.
I don't care.
You're not a fan of his?
It's It's not that. Yeah, I don't. It's words. Juggling those shitty things around. It's not that I don't care about people being well. It's just that I don't find it really newsworthy.
Oh, come on.
Good. Kanye
why I
West
think it
does
is.
crazy shit, and here's why.
But here's the reason why I think it's important. Here's the thing. And you know it, because mental health has been a very serious issue in the United States. And we don't often take that consideration because with people who are geniuses,
like Kanye West,
or even so far as Peter Stellis, the guy who did the Pink Panther Crusoe, they're great, they're geniuses. Often, always that dark side, that mental instability that happens. And one may ask the question is, while you're eating your chips and dips, should we take into consideration that maybe the reason why he was being burnt out, or like basically being, acting the way is he simply is out of it and has issues he hasn't addressed yet? Should mental health be taken into consideration?
Of course, mental health. Of course, mental health should be taken into consideration, but it's just because, it's not something that people usually look at, and if some person does something and it's because of their mental illness, people tend to not to really take pity of it, don't really try to understand the situation. And that is a problem, but I just don't like it when, everyday people go through this shit, and it's only when something slightly wrong happens with a celebrity that news starts to get reported. And that these sort of conversations about mental health should pop up on a daily basis, and not just when your favorite celeb is under duress.
And this is why I brought this situation up. This is why I brought it up, because these that deal with normal average people like you and me, people who suffer from conditions that are comprehend, very difficult to have. And
Mike, do you need me to mute it?
Yeah, mute it for a minute. It's your chips. What can I tell you? But this is what you brought up. I'm gonna say it again. The reason why I brought this up is because they are looking at his mental health. They're not looking at his sporadic behavior more so as whether or not he was also mentally stable. Now, listen, if he has mental health issues, I hope he addresses it. I hope he does what he needs to do to keep it under control. At the same time, is that should the celebrities, in my opinion, who's dealing with mental health issue, speak out more about this stuff and the experience they go to, so that way those who don't have the fame or the glory or just the recognition, the press recognition, will be more comfortable or being more open about their mental health issues to seek the help they need. Because here's the thing is, again, we look at these stars as being perfect, even though it's evidence that they're not. This is the same guy who walked out on a concert after 3 songs. These concerts are worth almost anywhere between $90 to $500, sometimes $1,000 a pop. That's one ticket. That's somebody's rent. We have a situation where he's on a rampage and a rant. There was reports of him basically fighting off medical doctors. So these are serious issues. And I know people will love to bring him down for it, and maybe want to stress him down for it. We only see one side of the story. They don't see the whole thing. They don't see the suffering and the pain they're going through. Keep in mind, his wife thank God she's okay. I'm not a fan of Kardashian. You're not a fan of Kardashian, obviously. However, having been held up at gunpoint and thrown in the closet is not something that anyone, rich or poor, should go through. Anyone. And so that could have possibly add up to that. Happened months before he had this breakdown. So there's a lot of stuff that goes with this. Um, you have shared your own experience with your mental health issues with the ones before. So I'm pretty sure that there's a breaking point, there's a stress level that happens. Um, and here, and in this report, which was done by Lauren Sakura of the that was done just recently, um, it says here that Keanu West has been fine low on the radio since he was hospitalized. He's out. Thank goodness. He's still slowly becoming from the public scene. He made a few selected appearances, but he's been very very low key to the point where they actually showed him wearing a helmet to cover his face. So he's not so. For those who think he's looking for publicity and everything else, he's not, because to him this is an embarrassing moment. That was a shameful moment to have his have that mean plastered all over the place. Is he going to recover? Of course he is. Should he hide? No. But it does bring a question. Hey, your stars, you follow them, love them, but they do have issues of their own, and sometimes it's more serious than what we can believe. Josh, again, anything you want to share before we move on to this story? And it don't have to be about Keanu West, but just the issue of mental health in general.
I think mental health does need to be talked about a lot more than just when something happens with a celebrity or after a mass shooting. We shouldn't depend on big moments to talk about it. I mean, celebrities should, use their position to help talk about mental health issues that they may face, just because we do look up to celebrities, and if someone is a big fan of theirs and goes, oh my god, they're actually suffering something I am, they might actually take solace in that the celebrity can do well even though they might be suffering. But again, this has to be a conversation that happens on a daily basis. We cannot wait for big things to happen.
Well, I hope that I hope this will be the storm, because here's the thing. I feel that with the star power, and I know, and you're right about what you said about the fact that it shouldn't take this kind of stuff or any kind of stuff from celebrities to happen. But I also feel that the celebrities do have the privilege of the press, and I feel that they should be more open about the stress they go through, the depression they go through, the mental issues they go through, and say, hey, I even though I got the star power, I go through a lot of problems as you guys go through on a daily basis, even more so. It's one of the reasons why I absolutely respect and admire Jeremy Brett, the person who I consider my Sherlock Holmes. He was dealing with a disorder that can look that is bipolar disorder. I think what they call it. He was anxiety. He would be good one moment, and then he'd be upset and angry the next moment, and he had to deal with that on a daily basis. And he made work. In his interview, he made work be his strength, his banker, and he talked about it because many people thought he could not do the stuff he does because of his mental illness, and he proved people wrong. But at the same time, he had openly expressed what was going on through his head and why he felt the way he felt, and why he had to deal with it on a constant everyday basis. So I feel more so than anything else, I feel that these stars who secretly are battling mental illness should step up and say, hey, look, I'm dealing with this. This is how I'm coping. It's not easy. And I think if you have more of these guys, whether it's musicians, actors, actresses, even politicians, step up and basically talk about this, the window of stigma will close big time, and there will be more people open and more stuff can be done. Because what do you know now? I know you have been through this yourself. People can still consider mental health, especially autism, as simply as a behavior problem, and that is simply not true.
Yeah, yeah. Arson problem, behavioral problem. Yes. Mental health is it's definitely has far-ranging effects, and people like myself have to do their best to appear normal, even though when we're like I was having a really bad bout of depression sometime like I think Monday or Tuesday of last week, and I just felt like breaking down crying. But I had doctor's appointments. I actually had to function in society, so I couldn't do anything about it. I just had to push myself and appear normal. And I also have Asperger's syndrome, so sometimes it can really be a pain in the ass to appear normal, to talk normal, because sometimes what I do is things I think are polite and they turn out to be, rude, and I need that, pointed out. So basically living with a mental illness is doing a shitload of gymnastics just to appear normal, and people don't think about how hard that is.
And you bring up
How much work, surviving, just day to day can be, and appearing somewhat normal, appearing like a good person in society. It is a shitload harder than people think.
and you brought up something that's very, very interesting because you said you have to pretend to be normal, where in reality it shouldn't be that issue in the first place. But there is unfortunately, a certain stigma, a certain bias, especially with some of the laws that used to be in place in certain states, where a person who is suffering from mental retardation to this basically a certain behavior problem was asked to leave restaurants and asked to leave place of business because it made other people around them very uncomfortable. These laws, thankfully, don't longer exist, but that you know lack of education, lack of understanding still lingers, where people do feel uncomfortable, where in reality they really simply don't understand what's going on. The perfect example is a certain form of Tourette's syndrome. Um, I remember this, which is very, very cool. It was clear as day. Working as a tour guide, a person was sitting in the coffee shop. He looked fine. Next thing you know, he was hitting the wall, and no one could understand what was going on. It was almost like that person had no lack of control of his arms. It turns out there was some kind of a syndrome, a condition that person had, but because to no control of her own, the way she was moving her hands, people got very much afraid. I'm sorry, and they slowly moved away where she was just sitting completely by themselves. The manager wanted to say something, they say, and she just left. She got a cough and left. But as that person was walking, he actually constantly was flinging her arm uncontrollably, like if she was punching the air. This was not, again, if you see her, that person, you probably would think, wow, that person has a few screws, but in reality is, she probably could be the smartest person in the world, and it's because of that condition, you will not know that. You can go ahead.
I don't know what I can say after that. Because, society will look at someone suffering and just look at the outward appearance of how awkward they are and won't consider what's actually going on. Yeah.
Had you had that situation before? Somebody didn't, jump to conclusions, or they haven't even came up to you and approached you and asked if everything okay?
My actual problem is that I think I will have a sad face on, and usually I can be physically sick and no one seems to take notice, because I guess my resting face is just like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's awkwardly nice when Revs will come and like randomly will ask me how I'm doing. Because I keep on telling him I might act like a slightly rude or put off, but I really enjoy it. I just don't know how to react to those questions.
Very, very interesting.
Yes.
I'm not going. I'm not telling you all. I'm just very curious about what you just said because it's like you have the opposite. Your face. You're saying is, from what I understand, is your expression don't change, so people don't know whether you're happy or sad.
Yeah, I don't really know what my face is doing half of the time. I think I put on one emotion and it's I guess not strong enough or something else. I mean, the only time when I really get people confused is I have this type of sarcasm that people will just believe. And so I think I'm saying something insane enough and, goofing off enough that yeah, I think they'll sort of easily pick up on that and being sarcastic. And sometimes I will continue with a little sarcasm for like 3 minutes and then have to tell the person, no, I'm joking. I think that's where I think the lack of my face really responding as well really is great because I can be sarcastic to people's face and they won't know.
Well, that's very much situation. I mean, guys, what we're saying is, don't just assume that when somebody is acting in a certain way, it's a behavior problem. It's maybe more than that. I'm saying this because again, I think the celebrities who also suffer similar situations, I feel that look, they're not forced to do it, but if they have that situation, and especially the resources to speak up on the situation, I think they should. I think it will help those who feel powerless against that and feel ashamed to even talk about this because it is something very serious. Mental health is something very serious that unfortunately this country don't take serious enough in terms of giving people the proper resources when it comes to doctors, medicine, or just pretty much care in general. And I think that with the way mental issue is in this country now, I think it's time that that they start really truly talking about this. And
Yeah,
yes,
as I keep on saying, we definitely do need to talk about mental health more and remove the stigma surrounding it. Just, making people realize that mental illnesses don't detract from who you are as a person. These great people can have mental illnesses. Just because you have one doesn't mean you're broken. And that's sort of and understanding what mental illnesses actually are because there it's the age of information, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is we can understand a lot more easier. The bad part is that means that misinformation can spread a lot faster. And pulling up Tumblr again, sometimes bullshit about mental illnesses will pop up. And sometimes in certain groups, you'll think something is, normal, so you'll try to imitate it. And sometimes with Tumblr, it seems a lot of the social justice warrior crowd has all this mental illnesses attached to them. And I've seen a few of the profiles, and the thing is, it's not only certain people can have mental illnesses. I'm not saying that, but it's just very suspicious that this group of people with the same ideology that basically tries to kick out newcomers or, people that slightly disagree all have the same sort of problems. And it's almost like they're using it as a way to connect with people. And so when you're in a situation where you want to fit in, misinformation can spread a lot easier, especially when you're in not just social justice warriors, but any type of group where you're in an echo chamber. And so you can't actually really research the subjects, and you just spread misinformation because you want to be part of the group.
All right, and I'm glad you bring up something. I'm glad you brought this up because we got to really talk about that before we leave about misinformation, because they're now Congress is on high alert on that, and I'll bring that up a little bit earlier about that. But again, this is why I wanted to bring up the Keanu West situation. Not more for Keanu West. Again, I'm glad he's okay. He's out and about. He's keeping low key. But for more, the fact is that when stuff like this happens, when someone's put in a mental institution, it's always this big uproar, surprise, and shock. Don't be surprised. Don't be shocked. Just because he's a genius in music doesn't mean he's struggling with other things. As we have seen, some of the great stars may have a lot of issues, and it's because of A, pride, B, shame, or B, being afraid. They don't deal with these issues head on. That's what musicians, that's what even with politicians. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you know who has a major issue? Anthony Weiner. Why? Because he keeps making the same mistake over and over again, and he's not seeking the help he needs to prevent that stuff from happening again. And it's ruined his marriage, pretty much ruined his relationship with his kid, and all because he can't keep his thing in his pants when it comes to texting. That's not just a coincidence. That's a serious mental health issue. Having these breakdowns could be a mental health issue, and just ignoring it or being ashamed about it to confront it is not going to solve it. These kind of things need to be addressed, but most importantly, the society itself needs to understand that these stuff do exist. They're not just one thing, and they need to really come forward and say, "Hey, you need to step up, get the funding they need, so that way this can be addressed before it can reach a very dangerous climax." We're gonna skip over now. We got at least two more things we gotta address. First off, I know this is from beyond your time. I've seen probably 3 movies of his, and yet I was surprised he was still alive until recently. Happy 100th birthday, Kirk Douglas. Oh my goodness. I am surprised he's
Wait, what?
Kirk Douglas.
100 years old?
Yep.
Fuck. That name sounds goddamn familiar.
Spartacus. Tough
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
He's Michael Douglas' father.
I remember Spartacus.
Yeah, he was in there. He's a well-pronounced actor. He hasn't been in films in a long, long time. Kind of sad though, because he's a really, very great actor. His son is also a good actor. He was celebrated by a few guests, of course. His daughter-in-law, Kathleen Jones, was there in attendance. So congratulations to him. 100 years old, still looking good. Very, very happy for him and his family. So that's very short and simple. I'm not going to go any further than that because, again, call me an old school guy. Joskin is the millennial of the group. But we do have to address something here. And this is going to be, we have to do no top 10 this week. We probably won't do one until at least next season because it's the holidays and I don't really want to, talk about what goes on in the movies. That's money I'm not going to be making. But we have to address something here that is becoming an issue more on Facebook and on Twitter. Don't think Trump is doing anything about it yet, but now it's gotten to the point where Congress is getting involved. When Congress get involved, the community of the World Wide Web needs to start having this discussion because they are looking to pass a law or trying to get a bill to be passed. Now, as you all know, Trump has been elected president of the United States. And I'm only talking to those who are not in the U.S. There has been a lot of issues behind this election. Most of it stems not more from the question of a voting situation. That's going to happen regardless whether he got in or not. But more on the information that is being shared. Now, I'm going to say this, and even Joshkin will say it herself as well. J&J Mondays, as well as Entertainment Roundup, as well as What's News, are simply opinionated topics that we talk about. Yes, some of the stuff is based on news that we picked up from online, but the good proportion of our show is giving our opinion of what we read. I always stress this: an opinion. You don't have to agree with us. In fact, you can make your own comments and your own opinions on what we have said. With that being said, I gotta stress this: we're not the news. We're not paid news reporters. We're not news anchors. We
Well,
don't.
we're not really paid anything, at least on my end.
What you get what we're saying. We do this on a volunteer, you know, hobby level, right? But we're not here to give you actual facts of what goes on. Okay. In fact, I made it my business to make sure what the news words do talk about, there's actually something to back it up. Yes, I do my research before posting everything else here. Even with that being said, I'm only giving an opinion. All right. I try to give credit where the actual article is, and I try to make sure that the article is a genuine news article, which lead me to the situation. In the past 4 weeks, there has been a huge crackdown on Facebook and even on Twitter to remove fake news feeds. The reason for this is very simple. A lot of information, a lot of people have gotten misinformation based on news sites or news articles that has no facts to it whatsoever. That's very dangerous. And because of, and as many people say, that was the biggest reasons why the election was shifted in somewhat. Whether that is true or not is irrelevant. More so to the fact is that the world is changing in how to get the information. It is not they're not getting it from their local newspapers anymore. More so, they're getting information on the all world wide web. And because of this reason, Congress is looking to try and get a law passed, pretty much putting a stop to fake news. Now, you may think this is good news in terms of filtering out the junk and everything else, but it can also lead to other people who have an opinion, like myself and Joshkin, to be censored out of YouTube as well as Facebook and any other social media platform. This is why it's very important that we start having the discussion and what should be okay and what aren't okay, especially with the if Congress get their way. Because Congress, if they set their sights on something, they can use this not only to shut down the so-called fake news who that's out there, but just basically our platform as well, just on that. So that's the thing that I want people to understand here about this. I make it very clear: we're not CBS, we're not NBC, we're not CBS, CNN, we're not Rush Limbaugh, although we do have an opinion. What we do is share an opinion, and that's pretty much all we do. With that being said, we try to be responsible of what we talk about. We try to be responsible and give credit to the videos that we are reacting to, which is very, very little. We don't do reactions so often, more so just to basically say this is a topic that we want to talk about, and we talk about the topic at hand. But we don't use our topic to influence one person one way or other. You hear the opinions, we let you guys decide on that opinion. Jessica, what do you want to say about this? I know you left a message on me, but that's gonna happen.
Yeah, fake news helped influence the election on both sides, and in this day and age, it is actually very simple to quickly double check. For myself, if I hear something that sounds insane, no matter what side it's coming from, I'll look at, is this website trusted? What is the website known for? And if actual news companies did this, they wouldn't accidentally run stories from the fucking Onion, which is a satire parody website for those of you who aren't aware. And then I will also sometimes look up the story itself and see how many other people are reporting this. I remember just a little bit ago, I saw the story on my news feed going, hey, like this one news station accidentally aired like 30 minutes of porn. And so I didn't look at the article itself, but one of the commenters did say it was only one person reporting this. And so I was like, I was talking to Brian as I'm, discovering the truth about this, and I say, oh, it's only one person. Okay, it's fake. But yet, so many fucking places were reporting on this bullshit without fact checking. I just had to go through the comments section and go, oh, only one person was saying this. Obviously, it's wrong. So it's like for news that should be shown. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. No solution is ever going to be perfect. So it really depends on you to check, to actually see, this story sounds insane, let me double check. Because 9 out of 10 times when you hear something insane, you check it and it's lying. And part of the problem with people not wanting to check fake news is that when it supports their side of an argument, they won't give a shit. They'll just send it to people. And sometimes, a lot of the times, people will just look at the article headlines and go, hey, this supports my position about such and such. I'm going to send this link off to a few different people to prove my point. And then I took a beginning journalism class in college, and I learned about the structures of the many different structures of ways that news articles are put down. And they can structure the article in such a way where the important information that basically says this is bullshit is near the end. And most people will not continue to read a long article. They'll just reach a certain point and go, okay, I think I have the gist of it, and then go to a different article.
Well, I think that's the whole thing about it, is that the people, and this is why when I say that Congress want to, pass law, I say, look, you got to look at the situation like every view. One, if I'm a person who hates something, and I see something that fits my views, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Away with it and probably add something more worse than what the other regional content provider has done. Also, keep in mind, it's not just fake news I'm concerned about; it's news in general. You remember Corey? Remember that whole thing?
No, can you refresh my memory?
About the child soldiers and everybody wants to donate to this place, and they found out
the stop whatever. Call me. Yeah, I remember that bullshit.
Yeah, and how that went up. We also have propaganda news, which is actually even worse than fake news, because they're supposed to be professional. They're supposed to have a middle ground point of view, and yet they always seem to stick more to either the left or the right, without fact checking, without actually taking consideration what they're saying is actually accurate or not. They just want to spew out one side agenda, and that's it. So we're going to go after the fake news. We need to go after the news in general and make sure they do their job. Let's keep it real.
I mean, if Facebook and Twitter want to start coming down on fake news, there has to be some sort of way. I know a few different places have tried to come up with just rankings of fake news sites. And someone that I listened to on YouTube brought up the point of they can be biased themselves. They might, and just sometimes how they mark categories is ripe for abuse. So just having a list of fake news sites, it can get a lot more complicated very quickly. But I do like that Twitter and Facebook are attempting. I don't trust anything when it comes to Congress.
Exactly.
Basically, the thing is I just look at everything through the view of, healthcare, because that's the moment in time where I became critical of the government. Because just here's a fun game for all you viewers, all you listeners. For those of you, look for a person that has gotten disability or SSI or is trying to, and just listen to those fucking horror stories. And Congress sort of likes to increase its own paycheck while not actually helping those out that actually need help. So I really, sadly, the last group of people I trust for figuring out fake news sites, because again, Jack Lee brought up the good point of what if these sort of shows are actually censored? Because I trust Congress to fuck shit up if there's a benefit for them.
And that's the thing I'm more concerned about, of anything else. Because here's the thing, all right. Like I said, news in general has just been responsible for a lot of fake nonsense. As there's some dude who has a blog or a Facebook page coming out and basically spewing out words of hate or words of stuff. So if you're going to start doing that, we got to put the brakes on everything, which is crack down on journalism, on journalists who actually is following stuff that's not true, not doing their own fact check, not basically
with the fact checking thing. When I brought up The Onion about people, serious news stations running Onion stories like they were real, this has happened multiple times. It's sadly not a joke. So if these professional news sources are fucking shit up, it's like, what is reliable at that point?
Exactly, and that's the thing I'm trying to bring up here, because we're really at a situation right now where people are simply not getting the information through standard traditional news, and the newspaper industry is dying. Whether people realize it or not, they're desperate right now. They're trying to just barely hanging on, because the newspaper industry can't compete against the online web. People can get the information for free, and people can get the information pretty much from anybody. There's a cause and effect on that, and we're seeing that very, very much. And right now, the reason why you're hearing it more so now, let's be real, is because one candidate lost and the other one won, and it was due to a lot of fake news being filtering out there. They claim that's been the main issues. My main situation is that even if you filter out all those fake news still going to be there. So it has to be it has to be some other middle ground that has to be done, say, by just censoring everything. This is again a reason why I want to point this out. We're not news. All right, we have a podcast that share opinions about the news we speak of, that's being shown or being talked about in the World Wide Web or the mass media. But with that being said, and Josh, again, you can have a say on this as well. Should there be a tagline or something that pretty much explains exactly what this are, or is it just simply is that the media, as well as people who are making the news, should be more cautious, as well as the people reading it should be more cautious, and make sure you have something that backs up what the publisher is saying?
I mean, like a tagline of saying, "This is what we aren't actually news," or "This is a news source," or
just basically saying, what genre this is. This is actual media, big news, or opinionated subject, or so on.
Yeah, I think that some sort of tags like that would be good. I totally hate to bring fan fiction into this, but the Archive of Our Own, what I really like about that site is how the tag system that you can go with, the obvious, okay, this is this series involving your character death. So I do especially when I write mature material, I do like to tag it correctly so someone doesn't accidentally view it at work or someone who's underage accidentally views it. But the problem with any tagging system is if it's self-regulated, there can be fuck-ups. They can lie. They can fudge stuff up. And if it is regulated, like if someone has to go and, figure this all out, one, that will take too much time. Two, there's a chance for that to be fucked up too. I mean, The Martian, got from the Golden Globes, got an award in comedy. I mean, there's going to be fuck-ups even if, the professionals say, okay, this is this and that is that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea. I do like it. And if the majority of people use it correctly, that's one thing. But I know there's always going to be those assholes out there that fuck shit up. That will maybe want to pretend to be, something more reliable than they actually are, so people will start running with their bullshit stories.
Well, here's the thing. How do you avoid being looked at as fake news? How are you able to distinguish?
I mainly do entertainment, talking about works of fiction, and actually reporting on the news. I mean, I'll report on trailers or movies, but I don't actually. No, I have a very extremely small fan base, and I do my best to make sure the information I post on my blog is correct. I mean, theories notwithstanding, because those can get crazy. I have a crazy one that I got a Westworld theory that I was able to put out before the finale about one character actually being another, and that just skyrocketed, and the Westworld posts have done really well, so I'm going to do an expanded crazy theory one. But besides that, I will try to make sure that the information there is correct, and it's actually one reason why I won't report on certain topics. Because I like to make, anything political, I don't really like to post about. Just because I really want to make sure that the information I'm talking about is actually correct. And with something like politics, where even the trustworthy sources can be biased, I don't like to deal with making double sure that what I'm talking about isn't bullshit. But I don't really deal with being thought of as a fake news site. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, and people also can understand what we're coming. And I understand where you're going at, because again, there are certain things you don't know. You're not gonna touch about it. Only stuff that you follow and keep dear to you, especially with something that is basically done for fun. But again, we are in that area right now, and again, I feel the need that, first of all, those who are doing fake news and knowingly doing fake news, you need to understand there's also consequence for that. We are in a very hot situation that since Donald Trump has been dealing, since he has been elected as our next president and will take office in the end of January, there are people who are doing dumb stuff, getting arrested for dumb stuff. And this all stimulates from the rhetoric that was going on, but most importantly, the news that has been thrown out there that even Donald Trump himself have taken and used to his advantage. And when you deal with this, there's very serious consequence of that. So all I'm saying is, for those, especially those who write blogs, write opinionated pieces, or even videos, know your responsibility. Know that there are some people who will take your opinion as news, and if you keep throwing it out there as this is a serious topic and not being aware that what you're saying is just an opinion, it could actually have, look, it's your opinion, that's fine, but not saying it's your opinion and passing over as factual news could have devastating consequences for those around you, even those you don't even know. So just be aware of that. Look, Facebook is in their right to filter out anything that can be deemed harmful or misaccurate information. That's their site. Same thing with Twitter. My beef is I don't want to see a legislation being passed that really is going to be mass as nothing more than censorship, where everyone, even if I'm talking about something that's nothing to do with politics, gets filtered out because they feel that I'm giving fake news. That's something I don't want. And I think the community, whether YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, needs to be mindful of this. Keep in mind the SOPA drive have never really went away. They're looking for any open window to try and suppress what is done here. All right, they have tried 7 times. It wasn't just SOPA they was going after; it was a lot of other stuff they was going after. And we don't need that. We don't need our voices muffled, because there are people who do make a living out of this. But most importantly, there are people who have share information that's very, very important, such as they're dealing with depression and everything else. And we don't need their voices muffled because a bunch of politicians, because they got laws and they're blaming a certain group of people for what they lost. Personally, they lost because, number one, they didn't represent the people the way they're supposed to, the people have spoken. But other people may disagree. Any final words before we head out?
Whenever you see a news story from anywhere, you do need to double check the sources. You can't just trust things without actually doing your part. I mean, because people, to get view. Oh my God. Okay, let me form things into actually coherent thoughts here. In a place like YouTube, and really any other website, will want to get views. Will want to get you on the site, want to get you some ad revenue, want you to click on the ads, just they want to get you there, and they want to make sure, you're on that side, you're reading, you're interested. So there are clickbaity headlines, and some places will like to report on a story just so that they can get the views very fast. And the thing with I guess they call it 24-hour news cycle, they need to get things done ASAP. They have to, it's not just them wanting to get the news story out quickly, it's them wanting to get the news story out quicker than the other guy. And so this is a system that is fraught with ways for things to get messed up, because then people will stop wanting to fact check before they release something, because the view count could go down and they won't get as much money as the other guy. There was I think it was around the release of the Goosebumps movie, there was a rumor that there was talks of there being an Animorphs movie, and it was reported by a site that actually usually did things accurately. Myself, I was very skeptical, and even though I wasn't going to be being one of those people with the story right out quickly, I just felt it was much safer to see where the story went, because I needed a second opinion. And so when I started researching to see where other sources are reporting it, because when you're having a story, you need multiple sources, and every other blog or site was using the original source with no other sources. And lo and behold, my waiting and being cautious paid out, because it turned out to be a bullshit story, and the one site that used to be respected wasn't really respected as much for such a big, mistake.
Oh, it is a big mistake. So the question is, guys, just be mindful of it. They're out there. There's no question that I kind of wish it wasn't. I kind of wish that we could actually look at something that and say, okay, this is the genuine facts. But keep in mind, we're in the World Wide Web. People do have opinions. People do have vindictive thoughts, and they're going to share it with everybody else, whether we agree with it or not. The question is, do your do your fact check, do your research, and make sure the news is actually accurate. If you hear something on the wide web and nobody else talking about it, chances 99.9% of the time, right? And be mindful of how it's been worked, because you can easily spot fake news. Just look how it's been written, look how it's being presented. Anytime when somebody starts off with an F-bomb in their article that's supposed to be a factual news, you can pretty much guess that's not a real actual journalist, just someone spreading their opinion. All right, guys, that's it for J&J Mondays. As always, we will be back again. We will be back next week. We won't be around during the Christmas weekend. No, we won't be around during the Christmas weekend, but we will be back on the 2017 month. I'm going to give you guys a heads up. We will be doing the Star Wars trial. We're just prolonging it until the movie comes out, which is next week. And then
I can't wait for the trial. I can't.
And then we'll start doing it. We may do it at the season finale because after the first week of February, we'll be gone for at least a few months. But that's coming up as well. Hopefully, Joshkin will have a microphone by then. I got to check.
I should. After we're done with this, I'm going to order that, and also the Wii sensor that I should have ordered months ago, so I can actually do my Wii Fit Plus and become nice, fit, and trim. And I also need to start playing Pokemon Go again because that really did get me out of the house. But the thing is, now the little gaming academy place that was a good rest spot that I could rest for like 30 minutes, get more Pokeballs and other goodies, and just stay inside and and the AC is now closed.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I know why. I just don't like it. It's just that it wouldn't have been getting that much income, and yeah.
All right. So as always, guys, let me just fix something here because my computer decided to go haywire. There we go. As always, guys, until next time, this is J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.
Adios.